Yeah. Hey, Clint, thanks for letting me know. For some reason, some stupid program keeps overtaking my mic default settings. So what I was saying, thanks for letting me know, is we're right now covering 3 games. The main game we're going to be doing tonight is UCLA versus Utah. Utah has the ball, first down, after getting a 10-yard first down on their first play from scrimmage. Oregon State is losing right now to Cal, which is another game we're monitoring, 14-0. But right now, all eyes are on Clemson and LSU and seeing whether or not they can get the ball back here in a second and do a game-tying drive. Hopefully you're hearing me good now, Clint. If you could just give me that heads up, I would definitely appreciate it. But it seems like we're all systems go on that front right now. And since people probably didn't hear me before, if you're over on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, whatever makes you happy, please come on over to CFB Xpress on YouTube, more just to get into the chat. Like the whole point of tonight is to watch UCLA and Utah, see what's going on there, check out to see how Cal looks after a very tumultuous offseason against their former Pac-12 rivals with Oregon State, and really just talk in between the breaks about anything that we saw today or yesterday. Utah with a completion from Devin Dampier, another 15-yard gain, advancing to the UCLA 40. So anything's game in the chat, and try to keep everybody up to date. I'm sure you have the game on. If you're not paying attention, Utah UCLA is available on Fox. Cal and Oregon State is on one of the ESPN channels. If you don't like the ESPN announcers, you can tune them down and hear me. A 9-yard gain on first down from Utah, so it'll be 2nd and 1. Nice run by Dampier, is already making his mark in this game. In case you were busy going to a wedding, doing some work, massive games today. Ohio State beat Texas. Arch Manning did not look good. I personally didn't think Julian Sain looked that good either, but it was notable. And then, of course, the shocker of the day, Florida State, 14-point underdogs, basically boat racing and moving Alabama all over the field, winning by 14, 31-17, massive upset in the top 10. So we have Texas down in the top 10. We have Alabama down in the top 10. We will have either Clemson or LSU down in the top 10. Tomorrow night, we will lose either Notre Dame or Miami, preferably Notre Dame for me. And we'll see how Utah is looking tonight with their revamped offense as they try to complete another conversion, which they do. And they get not just the 1 yard, but another 6 yards pass. So it'll be 1st and 10 for Utah on the UCLA 19-yard line. All right, Clemson just getting the ball off of the punt from Clemson. And they will be at their own 45-yard line, give or take. So 1st and 10 for Clemson. They have 1 timeout left as a 1:46, so they don't have the 2-minute timeout, warning. We can't call it the warning. 1:46 for Cade Klubnik to tie this game up and send it into overtime, or else LSU is going to go into the other Death Valley, and the LSU Tigers will beat the Clemson Tigers, move up in the polls, and shake the Game 1 monkey off of LSU's back over the last several years, including Brian Kelly, but it's been ongoing even before then. So we'll see what Dabo and Cade Klubnik have in store for us. If Clemson were to come back, it would continue a great ACC run over the last couple of days in non-conference play that has solidified them a little bit narrative-wise. This is a very good game. I personally think that LSU and Clemson looked better than Ohio State and Texas. If we were re-ranking everything today, I would start with those guys ahead of them on the proverbial scale, pending the loss, of course. But we shall see. Cade Klubnik incomplete on 1st and 10. Pretty bad pass. I don't know if the receiver ran a wrong route or not. And Utah goes into the end zone, takes an early 6-0 lead on the legs of Wayshawn Parker, pending the extra point. 4-minute 11-second scoring drive for the Utah Utes at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Clemson, in the meantime, converts a first down. It's now 1st and 10 for Clemson as they try to tie up the score here in the waning moments of the highly anticipated LSU-Clemson matchup in Death Valley in Clemson. And they are on the LSU 38-yard line. Complete to the flat. Not sure if he went out of bounds before the mark or after, so it looks like he actually tiptoed down the sidelines, and a gain of 15 for Clemson. So with 1:34 to go, Clemson with one timeout inside the LSU 30. They are absolutely in a position to tie this up. We might wind up having a trifecta going here for a moment. Cal still up 14-0 in the first with 2:32 to go over Oregon State. I find Cal to be a fascinating team this year. I don't know if they're going to be 3-9 or 8-4. Clemson on second down picks up a few yards, unless I looked incorrectly at the screen. Yeah, so second down for Clemson on the LSU 18. They can get a first down, obviously. Cade Klubnik over to the flat again. Picks up another 3 yards on 2nd and 7. So it's now about 3rd and 4. The clock's stopping as he runs out of bounds. Obviously, they're going to be in 2-down territory. Thanks for the assist earlier, Clint. Cal freshman quarterback is a stud lefty. Yeah, after all the tumult of losing their whole running back room, they got a 5-star quarterback in, and he's starting right now. Clemson lined up in 3rd and 4, 1:08 to go on the 15-yard line of LSU. Klubnik back to pass. Off the tips of his receiver, he had him. It was good coverage on Wesco. Almost went in the air, was intercepted. So it's do or die. 4th and 4 for Clemson. They either get the first down, get a touchdown, or they go home. And LSU will have defeated the number 4 or number 6 Clemson Tigers, depending upon whichever poll you want to be mad at this week. Tonight, Clemson is 2 out of 3 on 4th down. Again, for me, I think that Clemson and LSU have looked better. They looked faster than Ohio State and Texas played. You may have a different opinion. I think the veteran quarterbacks clearly matters. LSU calls a timeout to make sure they get themselves together. They have one left. So both LSU and Clemson with one timeout left. Play of maybe the play of the early season, a close game here with a key critical conversion or attempt to get a touchdown. While we're waiting for that timeout to go, Stormy Cyclone, thanks for coming into the chat. $5 super chat. Appreciate the effort. Yeah, man, it's interesting to try to do this. I'm not really sure what the style will be. I don't really want to do play-by-play. I really want to have more people in the chat ultimately and just shoot it up like we're at a game watching it. But I don't mind trying to keep people appraised on 3 screens if I can do it without driving everybody crazy, including myself. But definitely want to have it more interactive, more of a conversation. Happy to have anybody join on live. If you want to dial in, I can send you the link to do that at any point. Curious about how you're feeling today, Stormy Cyclone, about your Iowa State Cyclones after this week as well. And after K-State almost lost to an FCS. So we're back on the Clemson game, 4th and 4. Klubnik drops back. He rolls right. And incomplete. Incomplete. I didn't even see a receiver in that zone. And turnover on downs. Clemson, barring some massive mistake by LSU, will not only lose the game, but they will completely blow my early season pick. But I don't think anybody's going undefeated this year at all. To be honest with you, I think it's going to be carnage in college football. Yeah, he had no time. Klubnik had no time. He rolled right. He had a receiver over the goal line, but there was coverage there for sure. Clemson takes a knee. I mean, LSU takes a knee. Clemson has one timeout left. It doesn't even look like they're going to take it. So shout out to Brian Kelly. Don't really particularly like him as a coach. But LSU going to go into Death Valley East, whatever they call it, whatever they mocked it. Nico throws a pass over the middle, for a gain of 17 for UCLA on 2nd and 10. So that, I think, is the first completion of the Nico era. All right, so that is official. Clemson, ACC loses to the SEC in this one, so payback for Florida State, Alabama. The two main games we're going to be watching now will be UCLA and Utah, a little bit of Oregon State at Cal. If you guys catch some random game that's going wild and unexpected, definitely drop that into the chat, and we'll see how that goes. We have a couple hundred people watching. Definitely appreciate that. I would really appreciate it if you're watching over on Twitter and X. Think about coming on over to CFB Express on YouTube and get in the chat. Imaleva almost throws massive completion downfield to Matthews off his fingertips. It'll be 3rd and 10 for UCLA. Stormy Cyclone. Yeah, I heard. I didn't catch the Iowa State game because I don't remember them being against somebody that I was really concerned about, but definitely update me. I heard that Rocco had a very good game. So drop some of that info in the chat. That would be great. All right, UCLA, 3rd and 10, 9:24 left to go. Nico throws out to the right, and receiver drops down 2 yards short. Really felt like he could have kept himself up a little bit. It'll be 4th and 2 for UCLA. UCLA is going to go for it on 4th and 1 from their own 49-yard line. Definitely different than what Deshaun Foster was doing last year. Everybody's shifting positions. Nico's still back there. I don't know if they're trying to draw them off sides, but nope, they do hand it off and hands it off, and it's a 1st down for UCLA as they go into Utah territory, probably on the Utah 48. Stormy Cyclone. Rock only played till the 9-minute mark of the 3rd quarter. What were his game stats? And what did you think of the K-State game today? Barely pulling it off with 44 seconds left or so. 1st and 10 for UCLA. They're having a pretty excellent drive. Handoff up the middle for a gain of 4. And I guess I missed on the Utah extra point that they missed it, or they went for 2 and I wasn't catching it because I was looking at the UCLA-Utah game. Other games of note that are on right now in the last window here. Colorado State, so Mountain West heading up to Washington. And we also have Arizona, Hawaii at Arizona. Hawaii coming off a win to Stanford. Army next for Kansas State. Well, Army lost to Tarleton State, so another G5 school that is probably in the short list for people thinking they would make it to the AQ. Took an early non-conference loss. Rocco Beck, 19 of 20, 19 of 20 today for 3 touchdowns. UCLA on third down. It's a couple yards short. We'll see what they do on 4th and 1. It's 4th and 1 at the Utah 39 or 40, just shy of the 40. They went for it earlier on their own side. They're not going for the field goal or punting, so. On 4th and 1, UCLA pass incomplete, turn it over on downs. Utah stands and will take the ball over on their own 39. Arizona's up 14-3 on Hawaii. Washington's up 7-0 early in the first quarter against Colorado State. Oregon State into the second quarter with Cal up 14-0. Their freshman quarterback was off to a solid start, 8 out of 9. He's 0 for his last 3, though. So we'll see how that keeps playing out. Stormy Cyclone says, K-State game was surprising. Yeah, I would agree, but considering travel, maybe not. ISU hired some NFL people to teach them about the travel. Well, that was a wise move. I know there's travel issues, but that's not a good look for Kansas State. Out-of-conference games like that are optics plays when it comes to the playoffs later down the road. We all know that, so. Whiskey, thanks for joining us. Good luck with that new quarterback. Well, we shall see. Obviously, Tennessee had a great game today with their new quarterback, who would have been UCLA's quarterback, Aguiar, via Appalachian State. Tennessee with a 19 or so point victory over Syracuse. They were favored by roughly 4 or 5 points fewer than that. What's up, Juan Manuel? How you doing, man? If I would have told you that Ohio State would score 14 points and held Jeremiah Smith under 100 yards versus Texas, man, Jeremiah Smith only got 22 yards. One of my badass season prediction hot takes was that Jeremiah Smith would not exceed his stats from last year. It wasn't so much because I didn't think Jeremiah Smith was going to be better. It's because of who his quarterback was going to be and just the growing pains of a young freshman. So, 22 yards in your opening game certainly is helping me with that prediction. But yeah, I mean, look, Texas had a chance early to push one in, and they didn't. There's a couple of key plays there. I think both defenses were pretty good, maybe really good, but the offenses were both bad. I was not honestly that impressed with that game at all. I actually thought the LSU Clemson was a whole another level of speed, very close games in both regards, mistakes as well. But I don't know. I felt like Clemson and LSU, I was more impressed by both of them than I was either Ohio State or Texas. And I was super impressed with Florida State. I just don't know how, is Alabama really good and Florida State was really good? I need another game. I need more than one game for any of these teams, really. I always thought heading into this week that the top 10 matchup games that both teams were very possibly still going to make it to the college football playoff, even though 3 of them would take a loss. But we really got to see things more. I don't like to do super massive reactions, but I think we could take, instant reactions to what we're seeing and maybe keep our eyes open for things that we weren't expecting. I was no way expecting what Florida State did today. Whiskey, yeah, I kind of took it you were a Vols fan. 73-yard pass. Yeah, there was a shootout. Tennessee offense had no issues. I expect Tennessee's defense to be better than that, but the game was the game. Still have a good defense. Hopefully that's not an indication of what the defense for Tennessee is going to be the rest of the year. In the UCLA-Utah game, Dampier with another big run around the left end for a first down off of 2nd and 4. A guy is super fast. If you're not watching that game, you're going to want to get an idea of what kind of speed he has, especially if you're in the Big 12 zone of what you're going to expect later on this year with the New Mexico transfer and his offensive coordinator. Dampier throws off to his right, a quick throw into the flat. He's 2nd down, just short of a first down. Whiskey says Kalen DeBoer is not an SEC caliber coach. That's the problem. Yeah, we'll see. I think he's a good coach, but obviously I don't know what that landing in Tuscaloosa was going to be like today when they got back. On 2nd and 6, Dampier picks up 2, so it's 3rd down for UCLA. Colorado State scores on Washington, so pending the extra point, it'll be a 7-7 game. Tennessee was better with the new quarterback. Yeah, possibly, but we also don't know what Nico would look like in his his next season as well. But you can't argue that Tennessee had an issue with their offense today because they certainly didn't. Yes, Stormy Rock at the Hard Rock tomorrow night, 7:30. Notre Dame at Miami. Should be pretty awesome. Earlier in the day, there's the Virginia Tech South Carolina game, another chance for the ACC to maybe impress some people. I don't think the Clemson loss hurts that bad if the rest of the ACC continues to do well this weekend and overall comes in with a good narrative. Utah Dampier pauses for a second and takes off. Gain of 5 on 1st and 10 as they're approaching the goal line. They're in the red zone now for UCLA. Did you believe your eyes of what we saw today in Tallahassee? No, man. I did a watch party earlier just because I was, wanted to see what it was like and just pay attention to the game and not get distracted with my phone by having to focus on it. I don't know if DeBoer's going to make it to Auburn. They're not going to have anything dramatic. Again, one game is one game. For all we know, if Florida State reverted all the way down, they can revert all the way back up. So I don't know that DeBoer is going to have that kind of problem. But, man, Florida State looked really good. For me, there's no way I can sugarcoat that. If you go in there assuming that Alabama, if not a top 10 team, is at least a top 15 team, at least on paper they are. Kerry Go Knowles is in here. Florida State says, you're welcome, ACC. Yeah, you just Clemson just neutralized that victory, but I think the story of Florida State over Alabama is a bigger one. 3rd and 3 for Utah. Had a chance to tackle him behind the scrimmage line. Instead, Smith Snowden in for a touchdown for Utah. 12-0 Utah pending the extra point. Yeah, Stormy, I don't think anybody's getting much work done with all of these games, especially this weekend. I mean, if you're going to – it's Labor Day. Don't do any work. How did Alabama held Alabama to 87 total yards rushing? It was pretty impressive, man. Utah in for the extra point, and they make that one. So it's 13-0 Utah with 1:25 in the first quarter. All right, we're in commercial here. Washington is gets the ball back. 7-7 is a score there. Oregon State puts a field goal on, so it's 14-3 in that rematch of Pac-12 foes, old conference mates. Utah looks good as advertised, or UCLA not. I think it's more the former. It's also just the first quarter, but Utah has looked good. Dampier's fast as hell. That is definitely clear. Can we find out if it's true that DeBoer has a contract that says $0 if they let him go after the Iron Bowl versus Auburn, owe him $90 million if they decide to keep him? Is this true or myth? I can't imagine him having that bad of an agent. I would think it's myth, but I don't know. We'll see if we can find out. Probably won't be able to do it during here, but I'll reach out to somebody at Alabama who would know. But he was an in-demand coach for, prior to coming there. That's a contract of death. Nobody should sign that. So I would be personally surprised if that were true. Eddie V, what's going on, man? Oregon State needs to wake up. Yeah, I'm not even sure how to read anything for that game, because if you weren't following Cal in the offseason, they were a train wreck. They had a pretty up and down season with some high moments. They had the whole algorithm thing going for a bit. They then lost their quarterback, Mendoza, to Indiana. They lost Ott and the rest of their running back room in general, but Ott to Oklahoma. They had Booster Rebellion against the program regarding their coach. Then they bring in Ron Rivera as their GM. But then on top of that, then they get a 5-star freshman quarterback transfer who never really played a moment at Oregon to come in, who is starting for them. Wild offseason for Cal. So picked low in the ACC, but weird stuff there that I just don't know. Again, I could see them being 3-9. I could see them being 8-4, depending upon how it all comes together. Oregon State, and they're in one more limbo year. They're playing Washington State twice before the Pac-12 really reforms next year with the new members from the Mountain West. They definitely need to get it together. All right, UCLA gets the kickoff, goes into the end zone. And then they'll have a touch back to the 25. Juan Manuel doing the Lord's work. Hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks for the support. Appreciate it. Me and Flo definitely appreciate all of it. It's your first time coming to the channel. We're a national football college channel built by some Miami fans, but we are trying to cover national football with a little bit of our Miami Hurricanes filter's eyes, but try to call out balls and strikes, including on Miami, covering everything from recruiting to game watch, things like this, hot takes, realignment, legal stuff, whatever it might be. We like to say that our train's got a car for every team, every news item in every sport. Take ourselves not too seriously. We take the sport seriously. So thanks for stopping on in if you were just stumbling across us. And again, if you're watching over on Twitter and X, trust us, the bar communication in the chat room here is safe. You won't get harassed. It's okay. Come on in. And if you are in the chat, please, as Juan Manuel says, hit the like button and subscribe. Trying to get ourselves up to 1,000 subs in the 4 months since we launched the channel. And we definitely go a lot. Appreciate all the super chats, but just glad to have everybody here talking football with on a Saturday night of week 1. Stormy Cyclone. I seen the stat today. Saban lost 4 games to unranked opponents all his years, 3 in first season. Alabama's lost 3 in a row. Yeah, they have some double-digit losses within there as well. So it's definitely been not the easiest ride for Kalen DeBoer. Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Florida State, for sure. All right, in the Cal game, Cal has the ball, 2nd and 2 on their own 28, and they're up 14-3 with 9 minutes left in that game. UCLA is in Utah are in a TV timeout for a commercial. 2:11 to go in the first quarter. Washington and Colorado State. Last play for Washington, a penalty there. Juan Manuel, Clemson to me looks great on defense. Just their offensive line and running game took a step back. Klubnik has improved, but don't think he's a game changer. Yeah, look, the best quarterback play saw in those 4 games, and of those 4 teams in the top 10 matchups, to me was Nussmeier. He threw one pass. It was a dart. I'm surprised it was not ruled a completion, but regardless, I still think Klubnik and Nussmeier looked better than anybody else in the Ohio State, from Julian Sain or Arch Manning, but didn't do what they needed to do. Dabo doesn't have his vindication tour starting off on the right foot. So I'm going to bring in my friend, returning champion, talk it up a little bit. He'll be the color voice. Bring Rec Talk in, who's still recovering from his watch party last night on his channel as Colorado and Georgia Tech squared off in Boulder. And Haynes King and the Rambling Rec pulled it out late there, closer. I don't know if a closer game. It was pretty close to what the spread was, but it was closer for a while. There was a chance for Colorado to do different things. Apparently, timeouts are something you can take home with you. And if you run perpendicular to the field, you're still okay. So, Rec, thanks for joining, and would love – let's get your take first, because you've been all over the place. Let's get to Georgia Tech and Colorado in a second. But give me your take first on Florida State and Alabama.
Florida State took belt to ass. I don't know if my audio sounds weird to you. Does it?
No, you sound good to me.
Okay. Florida State took belt to ass against Alabama. I mean, they dominated that game, to me, from start to finish. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They were more physical. They were just an all-around better team. That score was opposite of what I thought it would be. What was it, 31-17?
31-17, correct.
I would have assumed Alabama would have won that game 31-17. Knowing their fan base, DeBoer's days are probably numbered at Alabama, but I think he was in a thankless position following Nick Saban. I mean, shy of him making the playoffs every year, they were going to be ready to get rid of him. But look, I've been one of the most vocal people in trashing Florida State in my time on YouTube. But you got to give them their flowers today. I mean, Alabama let Castellanos talk trash to them in the offseason and then let him back it up. I mean, if I was a Florida State fan, I'd be all over Twitter today too. I don't blame them.
Yeah, man, listen, I have been a skeptic of Castellanos, period. I was, doing I don't know if he's writing a check his abilities can cash. He grew 2 inches when he landed in Tallahassee, all of that stuff. But he was good today. Like, I don't think it was like Alabama was bad and Florida State just looked good relatively. Florida State played really hard. They had none of the quit that we saw in them last year. They were pushing Alabama off the ball. There was a moment in the second half where the Alabama defense started to like assert themselves with what is in theory on paper a top 5 defensive line, and they started to. That's when they made their comeback, and then it just fell apart again. And Castellanos was able to, resist that along with his offense, that momentum. And Malzahn called a pretty good game. The defense clearly benefited from new coaching, right? Plus whatever transfers coming in. So it would be wild if Florida State goes from 13-0, boomerangs down to a 2-10, rock bottom, and somehow boomerangs right back. It's one game, but it's also against Alabama on national TV, preseason top 10. I can't take anything away from what they did on that game today. I just can't.
No,
I was impressed.
And I can't believe I didn't mention Gus Malzahn. The system he's installed plays to all the strengths for the pieces he has, opposed to last year where it seemed to just clash. I think Gus Malzahn called a hell of a game. Castellanos looked great. Even the throws he made, he dropped some dimes out there. I think it's evident that a change in staff has really, from what we can see in week 1, transformed this team. Even if they go 9-3 this year, that would be a hell of a year coming off of where they were last year.
Look, a 9-3 that one of the 9 is against Alabama on national TV in week 1 against a ranked team is different than a 9-3 where Alabama's a loss, right? And granted, who knows how it all plays out when it's all said and done. But that was totally impressive. And while you were talking about whether you're having sound issues, Juan Manuel thinks you actually sound like Nick Saban. So you take that as you wish, whether that's a positive and there's an Affleck NIL deal coming soon, or if that makes you want to throw something against the imaginary
dang
wall.
It's cut! It's cut!
Oh, man. And then I guess let's get your take, and then we'll just keep watching these games, stick around for as long as you want or short as you want, and respect it either way and appreciate it. What did you think about were you conscious enough to see Ohio State and Texas after last night? And if so, what were your takeaways from that game?
Yeah, so one, this is probably an indictment on me. I don't drink. I don't partake in substances at all. So everything that people see me do is completely sober, which I kind of wish I had the excuse of being inebriated.
Yeah, I meant more exhaustion, but explaining it to the rest of the crowd is probably a good thing.
Yeah, no, I woke up at noon today because I stayed up until 3:30 last night. I went to Waffle House and I just tweeted like a mug, dude. I was tweeting like a mug. Deleted post after deleted post I found. But anyways, I think this is something I was proven right in. All leading up to this game, I said, I do not get the Heisman front runner hype for Arch Manning. And I don't think it was fair to him. It put him in an impossible situation.
Right.
He had a little shy of 1,000 yards last year and 7-10 touchdowns, but they were against UTEP and stuff. He was largely unproven, and we'll have to see. Ohio State probably has one of the better defenses in the country, but Ohio State clearly looked like the better team in that game. To me.
Yeah, they looked like the better team. I was saying before you came on, I personally thought that both Clemson and LSU looked better than both of those teams.
Agreed.
Even though Clemson lost to LSU, I don't know that Clemson loses to LSU then another time that they play them, home or not. Just the way that game went. But both teams, to me, just played faster. Maybe that's a result of their having veteran quarterbacks, but it wasn't just in that sense of the game. I thought both defenses, the game just looked and felt faster. And I don't think it's because ESPN has some filter that Fox doesn't have.
No, I think you're exactly right. When I watched the Texas-Ohio State game, it looked like two struggling offenses going against good to great defenses. in the Clemson LSU game, it looked like two really good offenses going against even better defenses.
Yep. I completely agree. Yeah. If I was a poll voter and pending Miami Notre Dame, because we don't know what will happen there, and all of these positions 1 to 10, if Texas is nowhere near as good as you thought, and there isn't an elite tier in anything, then anyone in the top 10-ish, top 12 could reseed themselves based off of on-field performance, especially this week. If it was fair, I understand what the realities are. It's easier to just move people up. But week 1 is usually, if there's going to be a lot of volatility, it's usually in these first week or two, right? Because people don't know whether they were right or not. And since there has never been, since 1950 or whatever it was when the AP poll began, a week where 3 top 10 games happened at the same time. It's been since 2017 since it actually happened at any week. That maybe something interesting could happen. I would personally have LSU ahead of Texas, Ohio State, Clemson, because they beat them. That of those 4 teams, we haven't seen the rest. I'm not saying that LSU should leapfrog Penn State or anybody else is ahead of them, but within those scheme of those cluster of 4 teams that did play today, a team of note, I would have them ranked that way just based off of what I saw.
I definitely think LSU should get in the top 5. I mean, they beat the 4 team in the country. I think Texas could drop out of the top 10, maybe at 11. They might not drop that far. Where does Alabama drop to?
Utah scores another touchdown. It's now 19-0 on a touchdown pass from Dampier to his guy in the flat. I don't know. I can't see the number from where I'm looking at right now, so I didn't catch who scored it. But Utah about to go up 20-0 on UCLA with 12 minutes left in the first quarter. Well, if you have Florida State, who's not ranked, I don't even know if Florida State was in the also receiving votes category. Maybe they had a few votes here or there. How is there a world where Alabama stays in the poll and Florida State's not ahead of them? I mean, if that were to happen, and if it was going to happen to anybody, it would happen to Florida State, right? Because that's just what has happened, right? They were screwed 2 years ago. In my opinion, you may disagree.
I have many videos defending them. Once the reaction became what it was, I was like, I don't get that. But I said it was the Montreal screw job of college football. So, if Alabama stays ranked, which I presume that they're going to, Florida State absolutely has to be ranked ahead of them. That wasn't, hey, this only because you're on a home field. Like, they kicked their ass. They moved them around, and if you're knowing, I'm guessing that these pollsters will be, well, Alabama was number 8. We don't want to put Florida State too far up. We don't want to knock Alabama out. So I'm betting they'll split the difference, and Alabama is somewhere between 16 and 18, 15 and 18, and Florida State should be ahead of them. But will I be surprised if all logic fails and Florida State is somehow ranked behind Alabama? They're going to be ranked, but somehow ranked behind Alabama? No, I will not be shocked because I watch college football. I wouldn't be shocked if Bama dropped to like 15 or 16 and FSU's not ranked next week. I think that would be wrong.
Yes.
But that wouldn't surprise me.
No, like nothing surprises me in college football. Except Florida State kicking Alabama's ass. That surprised the living hell out of me.
I would have lost every bit of money I'll ever make in my life on that.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming at all. I even had Florida State people going back to video years ago, starting to comment again. Like, look
that's awesome. Yeah. If you're in the chat, tell us how you would rank Alabama and Florida State in the upcoming poll relative to each other, with Florida State not being ranked. If you're over on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it today, come on over to CFB Express. Definitely get in the chat with us, chop it up as we watch these games. Cal remains 14-3. Utah
is surprising to me too. Cal handling Oregon State. I know Oregon State went 3-9, but they're generally a good team.
Yeah, look, Cal got off to a really good start. They've slowed down since then with their freshman quarterback, their 5-star freshman quarterback. But yeah, with 222, They're there. Colorado State and Washington remain tied at 7 with 13.5 left in the second quarter. So we still got some games out there. Yep. Stormy Cyclone says that Alabama was 8. He suspects 16. The SEC effect. And FSU is at would be at 19, which that would be the definition of it doesn't matter what you do on the field, right? It's just like it made no sense for the FPI to do what it did from like 60 days ago till 2 weeks ago when no games had played, no one else transferred, no recruits came in, no returning production changed, nobody died. It would make zero sense to have a poll based off of like what happens on the field after the preseason and have your judgment still be ahead of the fact that Florida State boat raced Alabama at home after being a 14-point dog. But I think Stormy Cyclone could wind up being right. Juan Manuel, Texas will fall to top 6. Texas got to fall further than top 6. They were not impressive. I don't think they were impressive. Their defense was good, but they were not. I don't know that they did enough to stick ahead of teams that haven't lost anything. Granted, they haven't played anything, right? I'll give you an example. If Miami beats Notre Dame tomorrow, so 10 beats number 5, is Texas ahead of Miami with a loss? You can't do that. I mean, you could do that. Texas shouldn't be ahead of Notre Dame if they beat Miami, right? Oregon, all these other teams in between. You gotta losses have to matter, even though it's not going to necessarily prevent Texas from making the playoff, from winning the SEC championship. We have no reason to think that.
I mean, what was the score of that game? I forget now.
Texas, Ohio State, wasn't it 14-7?
Yeah. So if you're Texas, I don't care how good the defense you're playing. If you can only put up 7 points, that's a massive problem.
Yeah, they were almost shut out for the first time, I think, since 2011. And there was a lot of stats about, now granted, the number 1 team was playing the number 2 team or number 3, but it's been a while since the number 1 team in the preseason poll lost in week 1. I want to say it's decades long since that last happened.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Last season, they were wanting to bench Ewers for Arch Manning. And now you're saying, well, maybe there was a rhyme and reason to that.
Utah is really doing stuff on defense as well.
He stuck that cat.
They stuck that one for sure. So 3rd and 2 for UCLA. Or was that 3rd and 2 play and they stuck it?
No, I got it 3rd and 2 now.
3rd and 2 now.
Nico first down.
But Nico comes in and gains 7 on that play. So good conversion there for UCLA. They need to do something on this drive and change the momentum swing a bit.
How much are they paying Nico?
Not as much as Tennessee.
I mean,
$1 million something probably.
Yeah.
Texas will fall to number 12. Alabama will be 19. Florida State will be 18. That sounds right. I don't know if Texas will fall that far, but they will fall. The Alabama one, I think what you said for Alabama FSU sounds like rational conversation. We'll see.
Yeah, either Bama should be unranked and Florida State, or they should both be ranked with Florida State above them. That's the only scenario that makes sense to me.
Correct. It's the only thing that makes any degree of sense. 1st and 10 for UCLA. Another nice gain there. So moving the ball downfield here on this drive for UCLA.
Do you see how he's carrying the ball, though? He almost put it on the ground there.
Yeah, it's definitely a little nerve-wracking if you're the UCLA offensive coach. Juan Manuel, Alabama needs to prove they belong in the ranking. They have lost how many of their last 5 games? Yeah, but remember, in case you don't watch our show, one of our things is things like this.
Well, you can't judge losses for last year opposed to this year.
You can't do that. But remember,
feeling grimy after another underwhelming season? Don't worry. With SEC Spin, 1 rinse cycle and that 8-4 record smells like the CFP.
SEC Spin, the only detergent that scrubs away losses in the mind of College Football Playoff Committee. Powered by ESPN Rinse and complicit reporters nationwide, now available at Walmart.
I got to get me some of that.
I think it's available worldwide. So that, it can't happen. Kerry Go Knowles, very happy Florida State fan. Thanks for the super chat, $1.99. FSU should be top 15 after Bama beatdown. Yeah, I can't argue with you. I didn't think, if you thought that Alabama was properly ranked, give or take a couple of spots, and I thought they were. I didn't have Alabama in my preseason playoff predictions, but I did have them. Actually, did I? I don't know. It was towards the bottom half. I had Georgia not making it. But either way, I don't have a problem with Alabama being top 10 to top 15. So if you had them there, then Florida State deserves to make that leap for sure. Tepis is like, one player shouldn't make a team number one. That is true. Stormy Cyclone, surprised Texas didn't put a number 2 quarterback in the game in the second half.
Does anyone even know who that is? I mean,
no, I think he's on a milk carton somewhere in Austin.
Jeez.
There's no way they're going to I'm not – if it wasn't Arch Manning, can you imagine the narrative around Arch if they benched him in the second half? He actually had a little bit of moments in the second half later, too late, obviously. 4th and 1 for UCLA.
They convert. Is that just a sneak with Nico? No.
No, they just run it up the middle. So UCLA with a nice drive, nice answer response here. They do need to put it in the end zone, I think, here.
Yeah, they just muscled them.
Ohio State is the defending champs at home, and we're driving to 45. Believe it or not, it's a good loss for Texas. Texas had a chance to tie. Yeah, like the
touchdown. UCLA, Nico, wide open. Running back just come out of the backfield.
Excellent pass. So 20-6, you're as is wont to happen with these, you're a few seconds ahead of me, but I don't give a crap. Like, you're just giving me
I can pause for a few seconds.
No, you're good. Because I don't know, everybody in chat could do it anyway, so don't worry about it. Okay. Like, you're like a split second behind. You're a split second ahead. It happens. I'm not, which is why I will not do a Miami Notre Dame watch party, because I can't. Tomorrow night I couldn't handle it.
Oh, you just ignored the chat, yeah. Until something good happens for you, and then you just trash whoever's talking in the chat, which is what I do. You were talking about, like, this is a place for everybody and whatnot, and I wanted to come on and be like, I'm the other guy.
You're the other guy. Well, I'm not saying – look, if you troll, I will troll your ass back. If you're, like, going to say something that I believe is whatever on Twitter, I will tell you to go F yourself. I don't really care. But I have an on. I'm more of a – you're like – you just burn and the temperature keeps going up. I'm like on-off switch. I'm like, cool. And then I'm just going to destroy your home. That's how I am when it comes to this kind of stuff. So it just depends upon the scale there. UCLA games make it 20-7, and that's good. So 20-7 there.
Week 1 games are fun because you have an entire off season. Like, I am so happy we opened up with Colorado. First of all, I had trashed them previously.
Yes.
And you mentioned Haynes King, didn't you?
That's what I'm talking about. That's why he's the MVP. That's why he's the GOAT.
Oh, dude. He didn't even have to throw the ball. I think he sucks throwing the ball anyways. The dude had a career high. And I was told this is the best coaching staff of all time. It might be one of the worst coaching staffs in the Power 4. I'm not even trash talking when I say that. Look at that game. Georgia Tech did exactly what anyone would think Georgia Tech would do. And they spotted them 3 consecutive turnovers. Shout out to the Florida State fan. A team hasn't overcome that, an ACC team, since Jameis Winston in 2013.
So how are you feeling about that, while we're in the in-between plays here? How are you feeling about the game? Do you feel like I'm psyched or like, thank God?
Well, It was the best worst case scenario, if that makes sense. The worst thing happened, but the best version of the worst thing happened. Like, I was like, oh my God, that I would not have been able to enjoy this weekend of football if we had lost, especially turning the ball over like that 3 straight times. But they fought back. I mean, you gave up 7 points on 3 turnovers. Blake Gideon, the guy we hired from Texas, should get a raise based on that alone, because our defensive front is super sus, and it showed in that game. I saw people on Twitter saying, like, we're the better team. Y'all just played better. Like, what? What does that even mean? You know?
I didn't see it that way at all. I saw that you guys were that Georgia Tech was the better team and didn't play better, right?
That's what that tells you, that Georgia Tech's more talented everywhere, better coaching staff. That's how you overcome that kind of thing. It'd be like when Ohio State does this against lesser talent or something. And I'm not saying Georgia Tech's Ohio State. I'm saying when you have that kind of talent differential. Dion pocketing, he basically chose not to run 2 or 3 more plays because they took a sack and then let 30 seconds run off the clock.
For sure.
I mean,
I didn't get it. I saw the post-game conference, his post-game press conference, and it was basically saying that, it wasn't a deal because they're getting out of bounds. I don't think his quarterback, I don't think Caden Salter knew they had the timeouts they did, or else he wouldn't have tried to scramble to go out of bounds and lose 6 or 7 seconds, 5 seconds, or whatever it was, trying to get out of bounds as he ran parallel to the end zone on that last drive versus running forward, getting the first down, or trying to get as many yards. I don't remember the down and distance.
Well, is taking a sack getting out of bounds? Because that's what happened when they let 30 seconds. What are you talking about? Caden Salter, this guy's supposed to be the most electrifying quarterback all time. He lost to Kennesaw State at Liberty. Y'all should have known what was going to happen. I tried to tell you. I mean, I hate to tell you I told you so, except I love it. But I knew that was going to happen. What did Caden Salter have? 120 yards and a touchdown through there, a touchdown on the ground? Missed.
Yeah, I think he had a Shedeur Sanders first quarter in the full game.
Yeah, and all leading up to that game, they're like, you just keep talking about last year's team. Shit, that's all they want to talk about now is last year's team. So make up your mind. I don't know what to tell you.
UCLA Utah game, muffed punt.
Oh man, they're going to take over on their own 4 or 5. That's a gift from Utah. What's Wild Ute doing right now? My God.
Yeah, I did mention for people to take his pulse during the game. So Utah on their own 4 or 5 pitched into the end zone. Interesting call.
Out of an offset eye, you don't see that in college football much. Not
very often. A couple of yards gain, but look, they have a very interesting offensive coordinator. I watched a couple of games from New Mexico. I did watch some of his schemes, so I thought it was a very good hire for Utah to bring their new offensive coordinator in. And clearly, he has the right person in Dampier to do that. That is 2nd and 7 as we find them pinned in their end zone. Short pass out. Looks like it's going to be 1.5 yards short on 3rd. So it'll be a short 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 inside their own 15-yard line for Utah. And in the Cal game, there's 6 seconds left in the first half. Looks like barring some new development. I'm trying to see whether or not they're lining up for something that I missed. But Oregon State has the ball, so it will most likely go to the half. They're in field goal range, but they're not kicking the field goal. Tells you what they have about their field goal kicker. Pass downfield, time expires, 14-3. Cal goes in to half on the road at Oregon State with let's see, there might be 1 second left on the clock for one more play.
What are they, the Bears? Go Bears, baby.
Yeah. So it's 4th and 1. They put a second back on the clock. Risky play if you're going to try to get a field goal attempt in. That was not the play I would do. That was, they got lucky with it, but they were very close to losing all their time on that one. And they had two timeouts. I don't quite understand that because it was possible that the incomplete in the route could have taken up the entire time, and they could have gone into the half, meaning Oregon State, with 2 timeouts in their back. They got lucky.
PI on UCLA here. Utah throwing downfield. Yeah, he just basically tackled that guy like John Cena. You can't do that.
Yeah, you're pretty much guaranteed if you see your DB facing the end zone that your opponent is going to, with which like hands up, don't shoot.
Yeah,
that you're not going to get shot, but you're going to get a PI call.
Oh hell, who's this guy think he is? Haynes King running around like that? Oh, his helmet comes off too. It's getting a little chippy.
1st and 10, Utah with another. Dampier is his 15-yard gain on that as his helmet comes out. There was nothing wrong with that hit, though. Definitely curious to see what his halftime stats are. Dampier, that is. Oregon State's lining up for a field goal attempt, 4th and 1. It's a 49-yard field goal attempt after being iced twice. And it's good. So, end of the first half, Cal will be up 14-6 in that game. Let's get through some more comments here. Clint, not sure what the AI being used for the greater good of civilization is. Very well could be, but I'm not sure what you're referring to. Could have been
not, but yeah.
It is for doing thumbnails on YouTube.
Yeah, and then it's collecting all your data in a more efficient way. And
yes, for sure. It's figuring out how to put us all out of work faster, efficiently. Juan Manuel, would you consider today's Texas versus Ohio State game close? Yes, but not in a good. I don't know how to explain it. I thought that game was really bad. Personally, it was disappointing. I guess is maybe a better way for me to look at it. I mean, I'm sure if you're an Ohio State fan, it was amazing if you were there. But the game was not that fun for me to watch. It gets annoying just hearing about both quarterbacks not doing much, but Arch really doing bad. But it was a close game. Look, it's a 1-score game. Texas on the road. They were, they weren't favored. They only a 1.5-point dog. They were the number 1 team in the country heading in based off of just assumption. And they had chances to win that game. They even had a chance to come back and tie it. So it was a close game. But my thing is more of how good did I feel like Texas was today? And I don't think they're a bad team. So let me be clear. I don't think they should be falling out of the top 25. In week 1, they were not an elite team that I lost to an elite team. That's probably where I sense. What I don't know is are they a really good team that lost to a great team, a good team that lost to a really good team, or was it just week 1, right? In a non-conference game that may matter down the road and may not. It helps strengthen the schedule, strengthen the record, has no bearing on whether they're conference champions and whether they get the 2nd or 3rd bid in their conference.
Did you say Utah's quarterback's name Pierre?
Dampier.
There's 2 things that I don't like. The French and left-handed people. Is he right-handed?
I believe he's right-handed.
All right, well, I can do this then. All right.
This is the most true thing anyone will have said today. Stormy Cyclone Feinbaum show Monday should be interesting. Yes, it'll be awesome. You'll never hear more people off the rails than you will hear on Monday on the Feinbaum show. I'm actually hoping he's not taking Labor Day off because he works too hard on week 1 of the season, because I can listen to the game. But I won't be listening to the game. I'll be watching it later because I'll be doing nothing but listening to Kane's pregame stuff for the Notre Dame-Miami game.
Are you feeling confident going into that game?
I am. I really am. Honestly, I am. I'll tell you, I tend to not have orange and green glasses for the most part because I'm old enough to have lived the last 20 years of Miami football.
Yeah.
Which essentially is a 7-5 team. Miami's never been quite as bad as some people think. They've had a couple of losing seasons, but we've had 4 losing seasons in the last 29 years or something like that. Another school who had a great day today has had 4 in the last 7, right? But Miami has underperformed, to say the least, in the ACC. Sure. The conference championship thing is more the albatross to get off. I only care about conference, maybe because of when I grew up, where I went to school, when I went to school. I just don't give a shit about conference championships. I care about national championships. And if it was a means to an end, great. But all I count is 5. I don't care if it was 9 conference championships. I don't really care, whatever. But I understand it's an easy dunk thing to do. But I think people are like going off on, though there is a trend of people going, maybe we were sleeping on Carson Beck and we shouldn't have. But for a while, there was a lot of that. And there's just a lot of non-knowledge of what has been going on practice. And the people that I'm getting a feel for it are seeing it. Right? I know who they are, and I know what they've said in the past. A lot of them are not out publicly, but they're not out publicly because they have, access. But that whole crowd that has been frustrated for 20 years is almost universally positive about this team, including the defense. My prediction for that game is 27-17. Miami, we shall see. I think it's going to be a close game. When I say 27-17, I think it's 20-17 with a late touchdown, right? I think it will be back and forth. People who think that it's going to be 60% Notre Dame in the stands are clearly don't want to use Google as your friend. There's literally Notre Dame people, players from the 2017 game, talking about how it was the loudest place they've ever played. Because Miami is feast or famine when it comes to attendance at games like this. But when it's there, that stadium rocks. And then when they're playing Northwest South Missouri State, everyone's like, I'm going to the damn beach. I'm not melting in 12 o'clock sun in Hard Rock. That's the reality. But yeah, I'm feeling confident in that game. And I usually am not. I tend never to put even like $1 on Miami games because I don't want the stress.
Yeah. Would you bet drinking a 40-year-old Coke over it? No.
I don't think I would bet drinking a 40-year-old Coke over everything because even if I'm sober, I'm still not as insane as you are.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And I was worried. I was like, man, I'm going to puke on stream, and I don't want to do that. That's going to be rough. And Sea-Dog's very pregnant wife was sitting over here. I'm sure she didn't want to see that. But who's sleeping on Carson Beck? Do you know Carson Beck had 2 of the best passing yards and touchdown seasons in Georgia history? Because
he had a down year after a big year, and there was some smoke coming out of Georgia about him and personality-wise and blah, blah, blah. And maybe that was 100% true there, right? Like, you break up with every girlfriend or every boyfriend until you get married for a reason. Your exes are, not always looked on fondly. But I'm hearing nothing but positives, again, from the people who are the glass half empty to the glass is freaking broken crowd in the Miami zone. Tempest, I'm still waiting for an FSU guy, waiting for that invite with Miami to the Big Ten. I think he might, if that comes, I think we might be seeing Georgia Tech coming alongside. I'm not sure why Utes pissed. It's still 20-7, but that might have been a while ago. Kerry Go Knowles with the super chat. Thanks again, man, for the support. Take away preseason polls, and you take away ESPN SEC dominance. But I'm just of the mindset on that of like it's a First Amendment. Like somebody else is going to make a poll, and then others are going to make a poll. Like if the AP stopped doing a poll and the coaches stopped doing a poll, somebody else would start doing a poll, and we'd all find out what that poll was, and we'd all be reading that poll, and On 3 would still be doing a reaction to so-and-so's poll, whether it's Athlon or Rec Talk one day. So, like, I don't know. I think you got to put better guardrails in than to worry about the preseason polls. I don't dispute that they craft a narrative around there at all. I'm not oblivious to that. I just don't know that it's whack-a-mole, and you're not going to, like, ban them. You're not going to have somebody issue an executive order to ban the AP from doing a poll.
I lost a ton of respect for Nick Saban when he was in the booth and started shilling for the SEC and got called Alabama Jones and crashed out live on television over it. I don't know about anyone else, but I lost a lot of respect for Nick there. Like, that's awesome. You never did anything that was, not above board. I'm sorry.
Because Nick just naturally grew into owning car dealerships.
Well, you're telling me Alabama never paid a player in Nick's entire time there? Of course not. Of course not. And people only go to Georgia because of their values. Because they love barking at people and run around on all fours. No, they're there for money. I mean, I heard Kirby in a booster conference like, this guy's the highest paid player at his position. This guy's the highest paid player. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that now. I don't know why you would get butthurt over someone pointing that out like me, because I don't have things like national titles to point to. But yeah,
people get triggered easily. Washington's up 14-7, who's catching that score against Colorado State, which is why Clemson and FSU opened the door against ACC, ESPN. But I don't want to join the SEC because I don't want to be screwed anymore. Don't kid yourself. Any new members to the big conferences are always going to be the last members to those conferences, one way or the other, until you get enough juice and credibility. You'll be screwed to some degree, but I get the point.
Well, the ACC might be the more exciting conference to watch because you get paid on viewership.
Yeah,
you're going to see, like Tech did this with Tennessee. They dropped Georgia State, scheduled Tennessee. Georgia Tech did. And I'm sure that's because your payout's based on it.
Clint Moses, throwing some yellow jackets out there for you.
Appreciate it, Clint.
See, I have seen so many muff punts, even in the NFL. Yeah, we're catching up here a little bit. Bomber must be happy with that 69 and Oak Hill. Yeah, when these teams beat the high school teams, shout out to Florida beating Long Island University. Way to go.
Shout out to Bomber for putting up with me. I had already lit a fire in our chat before I even came on to talk with the Colorado guy, and he was just like, whatever y'all are going to do, go ahead.
Yeah, you should go back and check out Rec Talk on CFB Mafia with Fergie from the Colorado side. It's like the show that drove itself. Bomber didn't even need to be there for a while. SEC spin, yeah. Look, I believe the SEC is the best football conference, so you can talk about what you think are perceptions and realities and bullshit about something without it meaning that you don't believe that they're the best conference. We would all take Greg Sankey as our commissioner, but you could also understand why everybody thinks he's a pompous, arrogant prick from the other side, because he can be a pompous, arrogant prick from the other side because they have all of that going on.
Well, they want it both ways. They want all the money they get for being in the conference, all the benefits, but then they're like, well, if we were in the ACC, though, well, then petition to join the ACC. I don't know what to tell you.
Nico, back on the UCLA game with 2 minutes to go, Nico drops back, can't find anybody open, scrambles for, I'm looking like 20 yards. And I didn't see the distance before the play, but it was 1st and 20. It's 2nd down and something. I'm waiting for that.
Is UCLA the Bruins?
It is. They are.
What is a Bruin?
The bear.
So they copied Cal?
It's a long story about those two, because remember, like, Cal was the first one, and then they shot off. They basically separated into two campuses in LA. Those are the two those are the two flagships in the state. There actually are technically two flagships in California, I believe, in terms of the state university system. And there's actually two university systems in Cal. There's the Cal system, Cal, UC system, UCLA, UC Berkeley, UC San Diego, and then there's the Cal State system. So a lot of colleges out here in the place that everybody hates, but is the 4th largest economy and propels the country. Alex,
you are fake news. Sir, go ahead. Can you stay?
It's all good that they lost the number two team in the coaches poll. Top 3 defense from last year, and a defensive coordinator who won 3 Super Bowls with the Pats. Arch just needs reps.
Arch got a good bit of reps last year.
What was that?
He got a good bit of reps last year, though. I mean, he played.
Yeah, like I was surprised. Like I don't know what happened in that game. I was surprised with how he looked, because he looked. Granted, it wasn't playing against Ohio State, but he looked good in the games we saw him in last year. Stormy Cyclone, Tempest, they sure did. Best overall game I've seen them play. I'm 62 years. I'm assuming that's about Iowa State, because Stormy Cyclone's a cyclone.
Nice.
Somebody else is agreeing with you. What's wrong with French people? But by the way, he's left-handed.
Oh,
there's somebody else.
This is why I don't like left-handedness. I played quarterback in high school. I know you can't tell because I'm a big fat nobody now. But when one of the quarterback, like, you all throw with each other, and one of them was left-handed, the ball spins the opposite way, and it's weird, and I don't like it. And I don't understand. Like, if I don't understand something or it's a little different, I just generally don't care for it.
I thought you went to Tech. It was an education, a big part of that experience.
What does that have to do with being left-handed, though?
It has to be if you don't understand something. I thought you understood everything. You went to Georgia Tech.
Well, if I don't understand it, it's not worth understanding. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I do. This is also true. Stormy Cyclone Feinbaum is already tired of Big Ten people calling in. I can't wait to hear them on the next show. It's going to be awesome. Feinbaum is a clown, just like Jim Phillips. They should get married.
y'all need to respect Feinbaum because him and people like Skip Bayless were the OG trolls. Like, these are not serious people. They're trolls.
Yeah, they trolls with a microphone influencing the world. Iowa State has Iowa next. That game is always close. That should be an interesting game. I'm rooting for Iowa State on that one because I like people that are consistent, and Iowa State fans are consistent. Tempest 40-year-old Coke. I take a 40-year-old Scotch. Well, Rec Talk bet drinking a 41-year-old bottle of Coke if Colorado beat Georgia Tech. That's what he's referring to, as vile as that sounds, and it does sound vile. All right, back up in UCLA, Utah land. Now 3rd and 9 for UCLA with 1:46 left in the second quarter.
Can I tell you why I love college football after this?
Please tell me who's losing that we're not supposed to be, or who are you trolling?
I don't know if you saw, I did this stream that was a debate between Carolina Jackpot and Sports Talk Jay over whether when South Carolina beat Tennessee in 2022 and the Connor Stallions and the wristbands and cheating, all day today, there's still people commenting on this video from 2 weeks ago. This thread is like hundreds of comments long of these guys still arguing about this. It's amazing.
Rock, I'd love to take the Yellow Jackets with us. Also, UNC or Clemson, too. He's referring to a Big Ten realignment. Should and when that happens. US should have won by 80. Hey, be nice to CW Post. I mean, now called Long Island University. Actually, it was Long Island University CW Post. I don't even know if that's. I guess they're FCS. They used to be Division 2 or 3 back in the day.
Long Island? Yeah, well, get ready for the Lagway Heisman frontrunner talk from them.
Oh, yeah. Well, I made sure to dunk on Andy Staples when he was admitting how completely wrong they were on Florida State. I was like, you're the same guy who thinks Lagway is the number 1 quarterback in the country. And I think Lagway is a good quarterback. I just don't think he's the number 1 quarterback in the country. I don't really know why anybody thinks that.
He's not the number 1 quarterback in your conference. What are you talking about?
He's not. I take Lenore's. This season, I would take Lenore's Sellers over him. I would take Garrett Nussmeier over him, and I don't even have to continue to think down the road. Maybe not Gunnar Stockton, maybe Ty Simpson. I don't think so. Not after today.
Ty Simpson looked like ass.
For all I know, I might take Joey Aguiar, but DJ Lagway isn't so much about skill; it's about who's around him and can he stay upright, because he's already, proven to be like Samuel L. Jackson's Glass character. Kerry Go Knowles, $4.99 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Wonder what Bama versus FSU TV ratings were. That's going to be interesting. Absolutely.
It's got to be high.
It's an ACC game. Contributes to I'm assuming it contributes to the ACC ratings package. That it's not just conference games. So that's a great one for them. Clinton Moses. Last year they let Arch run the ball like a backup quarterback, not caring if he got hurt.
I didn't watch enough to know whether that's true.
So Tempest is a left-hander who throws right as a quarterback, but I'm not a quarterback. I'm a
you know who else?
Wide receiver.
You know who else is that build is Haynes King. I got his autograph and he signed it with his left hand, and this is true. I said, "You thought I wouldn't know you were left-handed?" And he just looked at me like, "What an idiot!" So I'm sure Haynes King hates me now.
Utah gained 6 on first down, 57 seconds left in the second quarter. See if they have enough time to drive. Stormy Cyclone, does the realignment talk calm down for the next 11 weeks, or does it heat up? I don't know, man, because what was it? 2 days ago, we had the whole Brett McMurphy. We had the Maryland athletic director throwing things out about Big Ten going to 20 by 2030. It wasn't really even said that. He more was asked a specific kind of question. Everybody took it to mean 2020. Then Brett McMurphy goes on with Andy and Ari the next day. He's like, I'm surprised he didn't say 22 or 24. Brett McMurphy doesn't go on and say that, just speculating. He's giving it away to say, to give plausible deniability to his sources. So clearly Brett McMurphy thinks the Big Ten's going to 2020, going to at least 20, if not 22 or 24. Meantime, Utah continues to drive down the field with time clicking off.
Camera girl just
actually 41 seconds left. Let's see. Maybe I thought I saw completion that I didn't. No, out of bounds. Nice catch, but it was out of bounds. Tempest thinks it's going to heat up.
Yeah, no,
it's
going to heat up. Yeah.
I was going to say the only thing I think is different is that there's more names being said more frequently, but that whole conversation expanded into Brett McMurphy basically thinking that anybody who's got AAU status or is it possibly going to get it, like Florida State, is in consideration. So now everybody who has AAU after, whether they're in the Big 12 or ACC, is like, so when you is going all dumb and dumber. So you're telling me there could be a chance kind of thing. And I'm sure Miami won't get in there because Big Ten's suing us over a safety that they want discovery on for tampering. And I'm like literally torn because I know what the discovery will be and they will look so stupid, but I don't want it to affect realignment. But it might almost be worth not going to the Big Ten just for there to be discovery in the case between Wisconsin and Miami, because I'm 98.7% it is not going to be good for Wisconsin and the Big Ten if they do it.
Well, there's why does no one name names in this? Like the Virginia Tech player from wherever, North NC Central or something. Why do they rarely name names? Because everyone tampers. Brent Key is calling people that would be considered tampering. Like, that's why.
We shall see. But I don't know, Stormy. I think there's too many people talking. I think it will not die down, but it just won't be top of mind with momentary blips. And it would be great to focus on gameplay for a while since we're only in week one.
You know where it'll be the hottest? Whatever team is not having the season they want, like let's say if Bill Belichick falls on his ass, there'll be all sorts of North Carolina. We're going to the SEC, and none of this is going to matter. So I'm sure you'll see that.
Hi. Well, hi back. Welcome. ACC price goes down every year. Yes, it goes down a decent amount of cash every single year, 17, 18, 20 million. I can't remember what the number was. I had it in my head. I got my bets to hit, just waiting on Murphy to throw a run for a touchdown, intoxicated. So hopefully I had Clemson in too many different parlays, so I'm well out of that mix, and I'm staying the freak away from Virginia Tech, South Carolina tomorrow, but I am confident in the Miami Notre Dame thing, and I will be here with receipts or to take my whippings after that one. Would you take Ty Simpson over Lagway? I don't think I would take Ty Simpson over Lagway.
That's not a. Are you serious with that? I don't.
Is that troll drunk or just hating because it's easy for Florida State, Miami guys to hate
that's
on
like
Florida.
I would take Caden Salter over Haynes King or something.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Mr. Money Dog, 4 touchdowns and no turnover. Keep hating.
I don't know what he's talking about.
I am not sure. But let us know. Happy to hear what the hating is, whether we were talking about or somebody in the chat, but I'm not sure what you're referring to specifically. Carrie Go Knowles, later fellas, got to go. Thanks for everything. Carrie Go Knowles, congratulations again on both your Florida State win and the things you were able to do off of the back of that. Utah kicks the field goal, so they will go into halftime up 23-7 over UCLA. Cal is now up 17-3 over Oregon State, so He must have come back after halftime and kicked the field goal, right?
Can I ask you something? And you might have done a video on this. What did you think about Dave Portnoy being banned basically from being on, like, in the Ohio State Stadium, with him being a Michigan, sycophant?
Well, my story, the information, we mentioned it on our show on Wednesday night with Flo in general. We didn't dwell on it, but we were just trying to do the contrast between, on the one hand, Portnoy couldn't go into the stadium. On the other hand, Corso was going to go out doing the biggest head mascot choice reveal in the middle of the same stadium for the other network. What I believe happened, and what I've heard happen, is that in fact Portnoy wasn't going to do was not going to be in the stadium for any of the big noon telecasts. Potentially it's a security concern because of how people feel about him in maybe every stadium other than Michigan Stadium.
He did carry water for Connor Stout. And
then knowing that having it come out that the Michigan guy was banned from Ohio State as the way of it coming out, only for later for it to be revealed that Fox is not planning on him doing it anywhere. That's what I believe that sounds plausible to me, to be honest with you. That's what I think it is. I bet you it's more an operational logistic security concern, because it's like sending Elon Musk into Los Angeles right now to talk about green energy after you did what you do. It's probably not going to go that well after you Doge things.
They might have killed him. You're right. They probably, Ohio State fans are crazy.
So that's what I think happened. Whether I know if that to be the case, I'm not 100% sure. I'm just giving you an opinion.
And I mean in the best way. I mean in the way that LSU fans are also crazy. Like, they're passionate is probably the better word.
Yeah. And they pump out freaking alumni like no tomorrow, right? Like, they're like, if Mice had a football team, it would be Ohio State in terms of the fan base.
Yeah.
The Miami-Wisconsin thing should just shut down. Players have the right to change schools for whatever reason, regardless if we like it or not. Yeah, they're not even going down that road because they can get crushed. They're basically saying Miami interfered with a contract. Memos are if you took 101 business law class in business school, a contract has to have consideration. You can't have paid somebody for something that wasn't going to be valid for 6 months. It's really stupid. I think they're going to lose unless they get things to happen there. But it's more about just the optics of it. Miami pushed back pretty hard. Then Wisconsin came back with their response. If it was the offseason, I'd spend more time talking about it. Right now, I'm less impressed with Luke Fickell, and I'm just hoping he gets fired. But also, I'm sort of not hoping he gets fired, because then I can dunk on him for one more season.
Yeah, he's done after this year.
Mo Money Dog, Gunnar Stockton, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, no turnover, go Dogs. I'm not hating on Gunnar Stockton. They played Marshall, dude.
They lost their entire team last year.
Yeah, I think Gunnar Stockton's going to be good as well. I was talking about right now, who would I take over X? Not who would I take next year or maybe even later this year. Not hating on Gunnar Stockton. I have literally no reason. I actually, other than not wanting anyone in my family to be anywhere near a Georgia player in a car, I got really nothing against Georgia at all. I think Kirby's one of the best coaches in college football. I know that the guy on screen with me, has a much different, much more fierce perspective of them. But
who do they play next week? Austin Peay. Are you gonna brag about 4 touchdowns against Austin Peay? Come on here next week too. I imagine you will.
But look, I think Gunnar Stockton, he's a highly recruited guy. We're really just talking about right now, who would you take in the SEC over DJ Lagway? And I named 2 that I would. I don't know if I would take Gunnar Stockton over DJ Lagway right now. Let me see. Give me something besides DJ Lagway playing Long Island University. And remember, DJ Lagway played multiple games last year for me to comment on. Gunnar Stockton took over for Carson Beck and played after that. I don't have as much history on DJ Lagway, so I'm not dunking on.
Wasn't Florida beating them last year until Lagway went down? I could have sworn they were. Maybe I'm not remembering it right. I don't know.
So, yeah, Colorado State. You know what? I love college football. Colorado State ties it up against Washington, 14-14 at Washington. 11 seconds to go in the second quarter. There, that game going a little bit slower. I think it started at the same time the UCLA Utah game. Colorado State kicking off. There's only 11 seconds, barring something strange on the kickoff here, which is possible as he advances it to the 37-yard line. Washington has 4 seconds left on the clock. I'm sure nothing major will happen there. And that's a surprising result, 14-14. Not that Colorado State's a pushover, a Mountain West school for now. Going up to Washington. Washington didn't have the best year last year, but I think Judd Fish is a good coach. Jed Fish is a good coach. He was a great coordinator for Miami a number of years ago. He did a great job at Arizona, who has suffered since he left. I expect them to be better this year, but right now, Colorado State fighting them tough, 14-14.
Didn't Mike Bobo coach there, the guy that Georgia fans want fired yesterday? Pretty sure.
Where did he coach?
Colorado State. He left.
I don't know that you're right or wrong.
Well, when I ask you a question like that, I know the answer to it. When's the SEC last year?
Hey, Mo Money Dog. I'm just gonna give you a little heads up, FYI. Like the woman that the player killed was my cousin's mom. Like no, and I'm not joking about it. So like I'm not gonna talk about that here. So one was tongue in cheek, but yeah, that one's hitting a little bit personal. So I'm not gonna go down that road with you. But yes, that is true. I can also then go back about the other players that people that killed as well. So I have no idea where that sound's coming from. Is that you? Is that me?
Probably. Is it like a background noise?
It was a pop-up ad that like suddenly started playing from here. So
hold on.
No, it came on my side. I think I had a depth chart open, and
okay.
And it was one of those sites that has like ads running because they're to do that. And finally, out of 2 hours, an hour and 40 minutes into this, decided to come up. So looking around, Arizona's up 24-6 on Hawaii. So Arizona's going to have a bounce back game. Did you see Wake Forest at all today?
Man, they were on the struggle bus with Kennesaw State.
They made Stanford look good. Even though they won. Wake Forest won, but they made Stanford look good last week against Hawaii.
Say that again. You cut out for a second.
I was saying Stanford lost to Hawaii last week, but compared to how Wake Forest looked in their victory against non-Power 4 conference competition, I was completely impressed. It's going to be a long year for Wake Forest as well.
Wake loses Dave Clawson, who I think was a pretty good. They get decimated in the portal. I mean, it's going to be a rough year for Wake. I mean, Kennesaw State just became D1 like a few years ago, and they weren't ready to make that leap then. Yeah.
No, I mean, they fired their coach who had brought them up after his first season, so you got to wonder about.
You know where he is now?
You know where
about he is on Georgia Tech staff.
Oh wow, that's a good hire. Yeah. It's probably. I don't know how much Kennesaw State and Georgia Tech are really competing on the recruiting front, but there could be some high-end aspirations for Kennesaw State that are low-end backups for Georgia Tech, and I'm sure that's not really working out well. But I think they're swimming in different talent pools there for sure.
Well, they both run options. I think he was brought on to help, do things creatively with King.
Cal is now up 24-3 on Oregon State with 11:22 to go in that one. I don't know. I'm not sure what to read into that one. Early season, you shouldn't read too much into any game one, really, in college football. Poor little Wakey.
I like Wake, man. I mean, I hate that it's going to be a rough season for him.
Yeah, I'm not beating up on them, just more talking about the reality. Tempest is saying the big surprise with the USF Boise State game for me. That was a big surprise until about 8 hours ago.
Yeah.
I could have. I didn't think Boise. I'm not going to act like I was Nostradamus or anything like that. I didn't think Boise State was going to come in and get beat by USF, but that was more plausible to me than Florida State beating Alabama by 14. I could have even foreseen a world where, hey, Florida State's done more in the portal and their new coaching staff is making a difference and they win a tight one, but not the way that Florida State won. I wouldn't have foreseen that over Boise and USF. What about you? What did you think of that? Did you catch the Boise State USF game, or were you too busy getting ready for Georgia Tech the next night and in that zone?
I was getting ready, but I had the game on, and look, losing Ashton Genty is huge. I mean, it was surprising that South Florida beat them the way they did. I didn't watch a ton of the game, but yeah, Boise State was ranked, weren't they? They were like 25. They
were the one G5 school in the top 25. They were the not prohibitive favorite. They were the clear favorite in the Vegas books for which school from the G5 would get the AQ. I think they were like 1 to 3, and your next best bet odds were like 1 to 6, 1 and 6, 1 and 7, 1 and 8, jump 1 and 15. I didn't get to look to see how far they may have dropped in there. And granted, again, it wasn't a conference thing, so that's not necessarily going to put them in the place of hurting them in the Mountain West. But the difference, right? If you're a G5 school, you got to deal with your conference as well, and then you got to deal with your conference versus another conference for like probably just the one spot, right? So
yeah.
There's a implied benefit to the AAC because of USF, and who knows? Like if USF is that good, they can make an interesting run in the AAC. Now we're going to find out a lot about USF over the next 4 weeks because they play Florida and they play Miami. So, you're going to know whether. And look, they could lose those games, and you could still know that they're a good team, right? Ultimately, but we'll have. They're going to have proof points. Boise State gets to play Notre Dame, so they can make a statement there. If they're able to do that, that would help them for sure.
Having a bad loss as a group of 5 team, though, it really puts you behind the 8 ball because Boise State was number 1, and I would guess the number 2 for who people think would make the playoffs of the group of 5 would have been UNLV, and they looked horrible.
They looked horrible in week 0. They looked better yesterday against nobody, and then you also got Tulane, who beat Northwestern pretty handily with Jake Retzlaff today.
Boy, Northwestern down bad, ain't they?
They are. But they have a great stadium apparently coming online, a whole entertainment thing. Hopefully that revives their program, gets that investment going as well.
I think this is Twirling Wiener Car Wash. Wasn't that them?
What was that?
The Twirling Wiener Car Wash. Their coach got fired over.
Oh, yeah. Well, he got sort of vindicated that he didn't know. I don't know. I'm not sure that saying he had no idea is a good thing.
All right, you want to play FSU? Come over here.
FSU, USF, LSU, OSU have been the most impressive wins so far. Yeah, FSU to me is clearly the most impressive win. LSU versus Clemson, that's a very impressive win, but not surprising. They were underdogs by 4 points, but both of those teams are in the top 10. USF for sure against Boise was good. Ohio State, yeah, again, but they were favored in that game, so I can't put it on the same level as the Florida State surpriser of Alabama or even USF. Importance-wise, it might be ultimately more important for optics, for standings, for seeding in the playoff down the road, if not for actual access to the playoff.
How can you leave one out? Georgia Tech beat Altitude. They dominated Altitude, and that was an impressive win.
Yeah, man, look, I've landed at Denver and had to make a massive gate connection on a flight, and if I can do it, I knew Georgia Tech could.
Well, I was told if it was close in the fourth quarter, that was a wrap, even though Deion's lost his last 6 games that are decided by less than 8 points. I think Haynes King ran for 45 yards with about 2 minutes to go. So I don't know. I guess maybe we had our aerospace engineering program do special training. I don't know, but we whooped altitude.
Ratzlaff started for Tulane. He did all right. Yeah, I had it on a small screen, so I was conscious of the game and the score and how it felt, but I wasn't watching every play or checking his stats. I'll do that tomorrow. Actually, I'll have AI get all me the stats for the key things so I can not have to watch everything and figure out what I want to go see the clips on. I hope USF beats UF. Look, I'm hoping that even if you don't like Notre Dame, I mean, if you don't like Miami, that most of us could align that like we don't like Notre Dame more most of the case, except for Notre Dame fans. And I think a lot of us can agree that USF beating UF would be a good thing. I just want Billy Napier to stay employed, though. To be honest,
Lifetime contract. You want him a lifetime?
I mean,
contract?
I think it's a reasonable expectation.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Harbaugh got one. Why can't you give Napier one?
Tempest in the same bucket with me having Clemson. You had Clemson beating LSU, but you got the W's with FSU and OSU. I can sadly admit that I took an offer in all three of those games. So whatever bookie you're using or whatever AI tool you use to pick your games, let me know. Even worse is I have a college football fantasy team, and I had I didn't see what Indiana did on Mendoza line, but I do have Arch Manning as my quarterback, and I debated sitting him because I thought it would be a defensive struggle, and I did not sit him, and it was a defensive struggle, and the struggle bus picked up my boy Arch Manning on my fantasy team and like held him hostage for 3 hours.
Who's your other quarterback?
Mendoza in Indiana, and then I have Mr. Baylor quarterback as well, but I didn't want to pick a Friday night game like that to do that.
You down bad in fantasy, man.
Yeah, I did pretty good the rest of my roster, but when your quarterback is having that rough a game, it's very difficult to.
Well, how many yards he have? He had like 100 and something.
I don't even know if he broke 100. I think he may have. I don't remember. I stopped looking because the pain was real.
Let's see.
Remember, Rock, my dad was a Miami fan, so I also pulled from Miami. It's hard to remember that there are those people who have those dual allegiances. Iowa beat Albany 34-7. I don't know. I think Iowa State's going to knock Iowa around next week.
I like that quarterback they had, that Rocco cat. I mean, Rocco is just a hell of a name.
It is. It's great for a fighter, a quarterback, or to name your pizza place after. And I'm half Italian, so I can say that.
You're half Italian?
I am.
Are you?
I'm like pure fascist, man. Italian and German.
Dang, bro. You don't present that way. You're not.
I gave it up for Lent one year and never went back, you know?
Me.
Stormy Cyclone, you guys all did better than Greg. He's so cold. Greg Flugar, PATC, you get frostbite just by watching. Yeah, I didn't do great in those particular games, but I don't remember what I did against I picked Clemson, so I lost that one, and I definitely lost Texas based off of that, but I don't think I did too bad on some of my other picks. But then again, I can't remember any. Well, Florida State, I don't know. It was a crappy week one, let's just face it. It was a great week one to watch. It wasn't so great to watch my picks, I don't think. So much following college football all year long, Rec.
Who's the other guy on your show? The General? Is that
the General. That's what he calls him, so I therefore call him.
He picked Virginia to be fourth in the ACC. They look pretty good against Coastal Carolina today. Maybe he was on to something.
Yeah, he likes them some coaches, and there's a couple players I know in particular that the General is high on from the Virginia roster. But yeah, it's that number 4 ranking stuck with you, huh?
Well, I thought about it because like when Florida State was playing, there wasn't really any other good games on, but Virginia was playing, and I was like, hold up. That damn General might have got one over on me. I think I said I'd be high if that happened. If they ended up being fourth.
Oregon State is on the Cal 3-yard line here. And they go in for the score. So it's now 24-9. Cal over Oregon State with 4 minutes left to go. Hoping the UCLA Utah game gets a little bit closer. It's another game that I thought Utah would probably win, but I thought it'd be closer than what we're seeing. So I could be taking another L as well. I did good week 0. It was easy with only picking 3 games and adding the over-unders.
Yeah.
But if UCLA doesn't get back in this game soon, I don't know that I'll have the stamina to keep watching it all and letting this bright light that I need shine on me so it's not dark in here keep on going. But we'll see what happens with UCLA if they make any adjustments coming out from the half.
Well, playing in baby blue uniforms is tough. You can ask North Carolina about that. I'm not a fan of the color scheme, man. It's not good.
It works wonders on the basketball court, though.
Yeah, now if you want to play some basketball. Well, North Carolina, I don't really keep up with basketball. Did they do anything in basketball last year? I don't think they did.
They did not have a particularly great year this past year. Let's see. So there we go. We got Devin's stats up there. So 78 yards rushing, 92 passing, compared to Nico, 77 passing yards, 33 rushing. Clearly, Devin Dampier is outperforming Nico. He's got probably some more assets. UCLA starts off the third quarter with the ball on their own 25, down 23-7.
Oh, good completion though, about 15 yards for Nico.
We get Daniel Gygax in the chat. Thanks for joining us, Daniel. And yeah, great completion on an out route for UCLA. Got a gain of 15. Moving the chains as they were. Another 1st and 10 for UCLA. I'd like this to turn into a game.
They score here, they bring it back to a 2-score game, and if they can get a stop, maybe you got a ball game here. Nico
their defense though
stays on his feet. More. Gets the first. Oh,
Nico with 15 more yards, plus or minus a yard there on that one.
I like how you put an error bar on that. That's very academic of you. Plus or minus.
There was a time in my life where I was actually good at math. That time is no longer present. I went down the verbal side of the SATs career-wise for a while, so I don't even know if I could count calculus. Nico complete, another first down. So they're a good coming out of the locker room first series of plays here. We'll see if they can make something happen. That was a dart.
Yeah, man, he put some stank on that ball.
He did. Got it ahead, gave his receiver some space to make that catch before the tackle came in as he went over the middle.
What's the 42 about? Is that Robinson?
I believe that is Robinson, yes.
Okay. Play action. Overthrew him there.
Overthrew.
Nico getting off his back, too.
Hey, Daniel, give us some context. West Virginia, I had to look up. I couldn't remember who they were playing with RM, but I know who they played. Give us the context on how West Virginia looked relative to the opponent today and what you were happy with. As Rich Rod opens up his latest tenure with a victory for West Virginia.
Be 2nd and 10 for UCLA. They got a score here. Another quick throw. Complete for about 7.
Absolutely. Clock stays in bounds, though it wouldn't have stopped anyway with the new rules over the last couple of years.
Still. Like, I'll freak out during the stream. Like, why did they take a timeout there? I was like, that's 2-minute timeout. Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah, right now the one is just getting used to is the automatic timeout when your players are hurt, right? To combat the whole Lane Kiffin thing. But now you're seeing when players are like legitimately hurt. You're costing your team a game, and I'm just wondering if that's going to result eventually in players being intentionally hurt by their opponent as easy as they can get away with it. Incomplete for UCLA, 4th down now. So they did go for it a few times on 4th down in the first half. We'll see whether
that was awesome.
what they do on in plus territory here.
Yeah, my fear is like, how do you determine whether someone's legitimately hurt or not? And are you going to see a team get punished for having a player hurt because you don't know and you judge incorrectly?
Well, you're going to get quote unquote punished by the timeout happening, right? Regardless.
Right. Which seems wrong. But
first half, West Virginia lost 3 fumbles. Wow. That's like,
you trying to be Georgia Tech?
West Virginia should shake hands and go out.
You trying to squeeze a turnover in on us?
Yeah, it was 10-3 at the half. Then West Virginia woke up, and the final score was 45-3.
Oh, you dog walked them. Okay.
Well, I think you won up West Virginia. I think Daniel's saying there was like 3 turnovers in the first half. Georgia Tech was able to pull that off in just a quarter, man.
Try opening up the game with your first 3 drives ending in a turnover. That's unforced. All 3 unforced. And then still covering like a boss.
I know you were watching the Georgia Tech game. Did you catch much on a second screen or catch up to the Auburn-Baylor game?
I didn't get to watch any of it. I know that it kind of was back and forth and kind of an ugly game from what I heard from both teams.
Yeah, I mean, eventually Auburn, put a little bit of distance. Sawyer Robertson looked good, but wasn't able to pull it off. Jackson Arnold, got some really good runs in here or there. He mainly did it on his legs. I think it's interesting to see what happens with Jackson Arnold. There's 2 things I'm super interested in the quarterback zone. What does Jackson Arnold look like over the season at Ole Miss after having the issues he had with Oklahoma, who now brings in Mateer? And then secondarily, what does Louisville do with Miller Moss relative to what Lincoln Riley did or did not do with him, with Jeff Brom as his head coach? And a whisperer.
Is there anyone that thinks Jeff Brom isn't a better coach than Lincoln Riley?
I think he's a better coach than Lincoln Riley.
Yeah. Especially with quarterbacks, So I don't know. I mean, Miller Moss, I guess, struggled at USC, but I mean, if I were to pick one head coach to develop my quarterback right now, it'd probably be Jeff Brom.
He's definitely on the short list. Colorado State and Washington are back from halftime, tied at 14 as they take the field. That's one to watch. Not that Washington's ranked, but again, Big Ten team. Big Ten has been relatively unimpressive with a couple of exceptions. Big 12 had a couple of games not go their way. The Baylor game with Auburn, what Georgia Tech did with Colorado, and then even the Kansas State game.
Yeah.
Today against a nondescript, an FCS opponent, albeit a good one, almost losing that game did not help. Did not help my preseason Big 12 pick to win the conference.
Kansas State? Who was it?
That's who I had. I mean, granted, they do have one loss, courtesy of Stormy Cyclones, Iowa State Cyclones, and one loss in conference. The other game today doesn't matter on that, but definitely.
Who's their quarterback? Johnson.
Avery Johnson.
Do you think his dad fought his brother again after that poor showing?
I mean, Avery should have gone home and beat both their asses for embarrassing him on national TV. Because who wants? It's one thing if you're bringing, Taylor Swift to your games. It's another thing if you're bringing the clown show to your games.
Oh my God! Why was he fighting his own son? Why would you do that?
I don't know. Did he get the last Guinness? I'm not sure. I don't know.
Maybe he was telling his dad, it should be me out there. Should have been me.
Stormy Cyclone, Rock, it's early, but do you have a hot seat list I do. I have Dave Aranda on the hot seat because I think he's a fool, and I think he's once again going to underdeliver. I tried to warn Greg Flugar about picking Baylor. I think they have the talent. I'm actually big on Sawyer as a quarterback prospect, but there's something about Aranda that just doesn't feel right. So I think he's on a hotter seat than people might expect. I think you can take. It's really bad to make bigger projections, but Norvell certainly turned down the heat on his seat for those who thought it was hot, right? That's a possible program changing, mark of a turnaround victory there. I think it's other than that, it's the same people we had to begin with, the Sam Pittmans of the world at Arkansas. Mark Stoops would be on that list if Kentucky could afford to pay him off, but he's got one of the best don't fire me contracts in all of college football. They literally have to pay him every single dime within 30 days of firing him, and they owe him over $60 million because they renegotiated his deal when the whole Elko, Texas A&M, all of those two jobs were being leveraged. He was in the mix for one of those, and he got a deal, and the poison pill to fire him is super big. Dampier, Venables is definitely on my hot list. I like Mateer, so I'm torn because I would have loved if Mateer had been like the transfer portal guy that Miami got, not knowing that Carson Beck was going to be the guy. And I think he has that potential, but I don't think he's a good head coach. I think he's just he's not a good defensive coordinator as a head coach with a defensive coordinator. They're not the level they were before. I think he is not that guy. And I think Oklahoma's going to have to make a change.
Yeah. Tony Elliott could be on that list. Like, I know they beat Coastal Carolina pretty handily, but if he misses a bowl this year, he's probably fired.
Not your Brent, but the other Brent in Virginia Tech is on the hot list, I think.
Yeah.
Utah, another good second down play. They're third and 2 on this possession. Washington just scores in the Colorado State game, so they're up 20-14. Daniel Gygax says K-State might have the Ireland loss curse like FSU and Nebraska. Well, that would explain a lot. Stormy's liking that. And, hey, this is as good as a reason as any. They were fighting over who gets to drive Avery's lavender-colored Corvette.
Does he have a lavender-colored Corvette?
I don't know if that's true, Stormy. That's the one new thing I learned today. It took to 10:05 p.m. Pacific time, but I will have learned something today. Rick, you're holding in there, man. Don't feel like you're in the penance box, the penalty box. You got to stick here until the referee lets you out of the box. I appreciate you riding shotgun for a while with me tonight.
I'm way too egotistical to think someone's going to hold me somewhere. I'm not much, but I'm all I think about.
Oh, well, apparently he actually does.
Wow. That's pretty sweet, man. Does he have a K-State logo on the doors and stuff too?
Say what you want about Carson Beck, but he doesn't have a lavender Lamborghini. He just has a badass Lamborghini, or had one that got stolen.
He has a stolen Lamborghini.
He has a stolen Lamborghini, correct.
I'm thinking about getting one for the channel, getting a Lambo. And I'm going to start selling.
If your channel is doing that great, then props to you.
Yeah, well, I'll probably rent it and start selling wealth courses, like knowledge, bro.
UCLA and Utah. Utah completes a pass out to the flats, gains a couple on its second down. 2nd and 7 for Utah. 23-10, 8:41 to go in the third quarter.
That's the best grift I've ever seen, by the way. I mean, do you guys remember Ty Lopez was the one that did that? Blew up the YouTube algo with his knowledge, bro. You know what's better than a Lambo? Knowledge. And then it sold his course, and each course was an upsell to the next wealth course. It's
Oh,
foolproof.
Pyramid schemes will never go away. Reverse, suckers to like the next thing is the thing you really needed for the thing I told you needed before.
Yes.
Sometimes it can even make you president.
Yeah. It definitely can. And don't think about it too much. If I had a wealth generator, I would definitely sell it to people for $1,000.
I'll never understand that. All right. My wealth generator is so good that I've made millions doing this, but I'm going to now try to sell 10,000 of these at $1,000 to make my next million or 10 million.
And this recorded video has a countdown for when the deadline is.
Right. And nothing is better than to have like the secret sauce that helps you get a competitive advantage and then like give it away for $1,000.
Yeah. I reckon it creeps into college football. This is what Colorado fans were trying to tell me. Like, oh, we've got this secret that we can't tell anybody on how we're going to win. Okay. Well, I don't have anything to do with whether Tech wins or not. I'm not on staff.
The best Lambo is the Audi R8. Yes, I said that. Yes, I mean it. You've officially moved into car territory that I just don't know.
Yeah, I drive a Nissan Frontier. I have no idea about luxury. Even if I hit the lottery tomorrow, I would not buy a luxury car.
Yeah. We're in the zone. When we get new cars, we will get a really good new car, and then we'll beat it until its everlasting last breath, and then get a new one. And that's in non-rust zone. Not that rust is as big of a deal in cars as it was decades ago in modern era, but out here, you see a lot of old cars because you're not really dealing with weather and salt and everything like that. So,
yeah,
they're both made by Volkswagen.
You got to keep it in the German, huh?
Yeah.
You're a homer, dude. That's such a homer car pick for you.
First and 10 again for Utah driving.
Dang, UCLA gonna get run.
At this rate, it's they're on the 20-something yard line, heading on in. UCLA needs to stop here, at least to hold them to 3. Utes gonna be happy though.
Ute is gonna be happy, man.
Barring some turnaround here. And hey, Cal, chalking on their path at least, was still early, but they're on a path to adding another Power 4-ish, since they're still in purgatory of Washington State and Oregon State, but another good, solid out-of-conference victory for the ACC if they continue on this trajectory. What are you thinking about tomorrow? Do you have any feel for whether if Florida State's expectations against Alabama were clearly wrong from the prognosticators, do you see any way for Virginia Tech to exceed and maybe shock against South Carolina?
Virginia Tech is such a tough team to gauge. So I don't know much about Virginia Tech. I don't know what they lost coming back to this year. All I know is, like you, I'm really high on South Carolina. And if you force me to tell you right now, I think they win that game by 17 probably. I just think South Carolina is handedly better. And it's in a neutral site. So, it's not like they're having to play in Blacksburg or something.
Yeah, look. Kyron Drones has this potential in him as the quarterback for Virginia Tech. We've seen it flash. We saw what he did to Miami, right? We saw what Tech did to Miami last year. Whether you want to dismiss part of that, because me and Stormy Cyclone and Rec Talk probably could have been a better defensive backfield than Miami's ultimately turned out to be. Sure, go ahead and do that. But Drones has talent. He's got a coach under fire. They're playing against the school with the head coach of the legend head coach they had. Talk about having inside info and not taking that to your advantage and making the wrong business decision or not even trying. And obviously, I don't know what did or didn't happen. It's easy to sit there and say that from a distance. But I love Lenora Sellers. I actually have South Carolina in my SEC crowd of teams that will go to the playoff. Before the season started, and it is what it is, right? I had Texas and South Carolina and LSU going to the college football playoff from the SEC. Those were my 3 picks. I did not actually think SEC was getting a 4th. Not as high on Alabama. I feel fucking vindicated about that today.
Jeez, yeah.
And Georgia, I had basically taken the Alabama spot of 13th, just a bit outside in Bob Uecker terms from Major League, to not make it in. Only for 1 year. Utah just goes in 4th and goal, touchdown Utah. There's only so much pain that I can take, so we'll probably wrap this up in a minute or two if we've been babbling on as this game gets a little bit into the going to take a lot to come back kind of zone. And I have to save my screaming and yelling for worthy causes, like hopefully not throwing stuff at my TV tomorrow night.
Can we talk about that a little bit in the nonsense? I saw on Twitter the thing. I think you might have sent it to me, and then it came back. This Miami's a bunch of thugs. These guys, whatever. You think, I'm going to talk around this, but you think people Notre Dame are affiliated with have done a little worse in the world than them calling you a thug?
Yeah, so I went off a bit about that yesterday for the following reasons. I don't really care. People want to call names and stuff like that. It's fine. As I say, when it comes to Miami specifically, inject the hate into my veins. It's like rocket fuel. I love it. I've learned to embrace the hate, and I know there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, that word doesn't mean this." Here's the Oxford English Dictionary version of it, and I'm like, "Well, here's the Urban Dictionary version of it." And let me ask Grok and ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini if that word has racial implied things in it, and it does. And the reason is I know when I was there, I was around the program when that word started getting thrown around to Miami, right? And in the context of when it was being done, it wasn't just about getting arrested. There were other words usually used right before or after that word of thug, right? So when people are saying it doesn't mean X or Y, I'm like, listen, mother, I know what you're saying, but you're defending the indefensible. I literally know what was going down at the time. And yes, when it's coming from specifically Notre Dame fans who then went on to do the Catholics versus convicts thing while having just as much of their own problems at the time. They
brought Catholics into it. Okay.
Yeah, right. They're the ones who did that. But when that program in particular's fans use it, I know when it started getting thrown at Miami and what other words preceded it at the time or followed it at the time. And yes, for me, when a Notre Dame fan, even an idiot podcaster who had no audience before says it, I think you got to call it out. I don't call it every little thing. I'm not every time offended, but those who are saying that there's not racial connotations around the use of that word from that school around this school have literally no idea what the history of it was, what the origin story was. So kiss my ass. I'm not going to sit there and tolerate it. Go F yourself. Whatever else needs to be said. Call me a freaking woke, whatever. I will plant you if I see you say that to my face. Call me dark woke then.
So you're saying the term thug is a dog whistle?
It's the freaking siren.
Okay.
It's so loud that dogs cry over it, right? It's a siren in that particular instance, right? And there are also certain words, without people being all snowflakey, that honestly some people can say and other people can't say without it having those connotations around them, right? There's words that I'm not dropping, but a rapper might be able to get away with, and you can argue whether that's right or not. I'm not like, it's not worth my credibility, my anything for me to even bother. I can figure out how to communicate in other ways, right? But yes, from a Notre Dame fan, the word thug in relation to Miami, and yes, I know there are different ethnicities on both teams. I'm fully aware of that. It was used very specifically a long time, and it does have those connotations. And you may or may not know this, and I'll like stop here because I don't think everybody came here to hear like the Miami-ness here.
It's one of the more
do what you want to do. Miami's fan base destroys each other and the program more than almost any other one, relatively, for sure. But when you do come at us for something like that, like that's the most unifying thing. And I'm sure there are other programs like that. Those guys FAFO'd themselves into their employers finding out. Nobody gave a second thought about doxing. They got 1 million views plus on that stuff and got no subscribers. So that is not a good social media ratio side. Their channel has no videos. Their podcast is down off of Apple. I don't think it's available on Spotify. The law firm that one of them worked at acknowledged that that was probably not something they were comfortable with.
I wasn't aware of this.
Oh yeah,
I thought they were like a nobody like me.
They were a nobody like me. They got blown. Well, one, you're like a huge podcaster compared to them. They had like a couple of hundred. So I don't know what they had in their podcast sites. They had a couple of hundred people on their YouTube channel. I assume this video was a live stream that was
clip
up on their channel at one time. But when I went to go figure out how I was going to mess with them more, there was no content on their YouTube channel. Their podcast was down. And honestly, I don't really need a whole lot of excuses to go after Notre Dame.
I
just need like a friggin' like somebody like took a piece of gum from a Miami student and had a Notre Dame shirt or thought in their mind 2 years ago. I still would have gone after them.
How can you work for a law firm and do that? Like, that's crazy. And like say things like that. Wow. I mean, this might alter their actual careers.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm now bored with this subject in terms of those guys to find out what happened. I just want them to have their moment, watch them have their if I offended you, typical like non-apology apology. It was super interesting.
If you get butthurt by this, I'm sorry for your reaction and your butthurtedness. That's usually what people say.
Yeah, for sure. A couple of things, and then I'm going to probably wrap it up here. Cal's up now 31-9 with 11:25 to go. That seems firmly in hand. Tempest said Notre Dame is a conference killer. Could be. Stormy Cyclone. I've actually been in a Bentley. That is an awesome vehicle. I can appreciate a Bentley. I just wouldn't buy one even if I was given the opportunity, but I can admire it. I can look at it at a car show and
what
enjoy
does it cost to insure a Bentley?
Notre Dame didn't help the Big East. Notre Dame doesn't help anybody but Notre Dame. They didn't help the ACC either. It's accurate. Did Miami start the turnover chain? Yes, Miami started the turnover chain. Manny Diaz started the turnover chain, which is why there's no longer a turnover chain at Miami, because I don't think Mario Cristobal, I don't think if Miami won back-to-back national championships, would that tradition come back, even though I don't know that there's not a lot of Miami fans who would be okay with it if things were winning. But giving away the turnover chain when you're down 23 on a 5-6 record and you get an interception just doesn't really work. Daniel Gagex, Rock, from an outside view, I think Shalala hurt the football program more than anyone else did. Bad decisions were made. I don't even know that I think that she intended to make bad decisions, but bad decisions were made nonetheless. I would present to you the now Boston College athletic director, Blake James, who was our head of ticketing before he became the athletic. He was associate athletic director in charge of tickets at a school who gets clowned often for not filling seats in mediocre games, became the athletic director. And then instead of doing a national search, hired Manny Diaz from Temple, who we had a week prior because he was so disconnected from Mark Richt as the coach. and his health conditions going on, and paid $5 million buyout. Now Manny's turning into so far a good coach. Revived himself as a DC at Penn State, had a better than expected year at Duke, so he might turn out to be a good coach. But yes, intentional or not, the Donna Shalala eras were not really good, for sure.
Do you think this will be Rick's last year in the broadcasting booth? He looks rough, and I really like Mark Rick, but he looks rough.
He seems like he's having that moment. They're making some adjustments for him. I don't know. He's still pretty active. I know he gets down to Miami now and then, but we'll see if it's his last season. I think they'll see how he does with this. I'm just purely speculating here, but I wouldn't be surprised. All right, well, Rec, anything you're looking forward to? Like, you want to do a quick take on the Miami Notre Dame game, and we'll what you're expecting, what you're thinking, and then we'll wrap it up. And thanks for hanging out with me for a while. Thanks for everybody who's been in here with us, several hundred people. Again, if you've been watching and thinking that some of the conversation is interesting, please come over to CFB Express on YouTube. Give us a like button, hit the subscribe. Maybe the next conversation we have will be better. Maybe you'll have something you want to dunk on us on. Appreciate that as well. Definitely check out Rec Talk at Rec Talk on YouTube. Covers Georgia Tech and trolls many a fan base quite excellently, and does his own version of things that you just have to watch. Especially, are you doing your Friday shows still, that game showy format now that the season's gone, or
I gotta see
till the off season?
It'll be tough because now there's games Thursday, Friday, Saturday every week.
Right.
Lou's a regular on that show and really the draw, so it'll probably be tough to get him on. But I'll try and keep that show somewhat regular during the season. I got Miami too. I mean, I know Notre Dame made, a national title appearance last year, but think about this. When was the last time Notre Dame had a good quarterback? Quinn? I mean, it's been a long time.
Ron Powless?
I mean, you have to go back a while. I like that game. I'm excited to see South Carolina, Virginia Tech. If you guys aren't subscribed to Carolina Jackpot, I'm telling you, he's the most entertaining guy. He got shitty drunk today and uploaded a video just saying F Clemson. Watch the stream with him in South Carolina. This is a man that they were getting their ass beat by Florida a few years ago. He gets drunk, passes out on stream, which I'm sure is against TOS of YouTube, comes to, gets drunk again, passes out a second time. So that'll be fun. And the last thing I have to say is shout out to Mark Rick. His son told me, John Rick, because I grew up near Athens when he was up there, and he told me to avoid this particular female, and he was right. And I'll always be grateful to the Ricks for that. And his words were, abort, don't do this.
Well, you know what? Apparently, he's better at personal life advice than he was as a quarterback coach.
It was at Miami. That's the biggest.
He was not well regarded as a coach at Miami, but sounds like you're a decent guy outside of the coach thing. With that, going to wrap it up. Thanks, everybody, for joining with us, sticking with us as we experiment with this on the new channel, the live stream. We'll see if we do some more again down the future. Thanks, Rec, for joining in and coming alongside as we watch a few of these games tonight on the late shift, and give Rec Talk a follow, and see if I have a meltdown tomorrow, a celebration, maybe we'll pop back on, but it will not be during the Miami Notre Dame game for sure. I need my full attention, because Lord knows if I move my spot and Miami's winning, we will lose the game, and I cannot do that.
It's so hard not to crash out live streaming a game. It's so hard.
I just can't. I can't do it. It would probably be bad. It might go viral. I don't want to go viral for that. So thanks again to everyone. Have an awesome night, and we'll see. We have 3 more great games in the next 2 days. And let me just do one quick thing. Isn't it? It's at Rec Talk, right, in YouTube?
Yes.
So someone's asking. So let me drop it in the chat as well.
Yeah, if you want to see me make a fool of myself over and over again.
So just dropped Rec Talk's info in here. And if you're watching later on and you're a glutton for a live stream, post the live stream on a watch party. I'll add it into the description as well. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night. Thanks, Rec Talk. Thanks. Appreciate for you joining for a while.